Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this video, we're taking a small 5 by 5 inch intuitive abstract painting that I did earlier this week and using it as inspiration for a much larger 36 by 48 inch abstract painting. I'll show the original painting here briefly because even though this larger piece is inspired by it, I'm not trying to copy it exactly. I really just want to carry over some of the energy, the movement, color relationships, and overall feel into a larger format. And I think this is one of the best uses for warm-up paintings. Sometimes these quick, smaller studies end up containing ideas that are worth exploring further. And real quick before we get started, thank you to Firkezohoch, Steve, Gary, and Kathy for the super thanks support, and thank you to Leslie, Trish, Justin, and Matt for the coffee donations. I really appreciate the support and the encouragement on these videos. I'll also put all of the paints and tools I use down below in the description if you're interested in those. So this painting actually started on top of another painting that I had stalled out on earlier. You might recognize it a little because it was based on a warm-up from a previous video. And instead of letting it sit, I decided to paint over it and use the surface for something new. I began by putting down a background layer using Prussian Blue, Winsor Violet, and light blue permanent acrylic paint with a 2-inch brush. And then I came back with a number 12 filbert brush just to soften and adjust a few areas. After that, I let the whole thing dry overnight before coming back to it over the next few days. And from this point forward, almost all of the marks are made using color shapers, a silicone bowl scraper, and a catalyst wedge. One of the things I really like about warm-up paintings is that they're often more honest and energetic than larger finished work. Because they're quick, we're usually not overthinking them as much. We're reacting more instinctively, we're taking chances and making faster decisions. And sometimes that creates compositions or color relationships that feel really alive. So instead of thinking of warm-ups and sketches and quick play art as disposable practice pieces, I think they can actually become inspiration and starting points for future paintings. A small study can contain the seed of something much larger. But scaling up, it comes with its own challenges. When we move from a 5 by 5 inch painting to something that's 36 by 48 inches, everything changes. The physical movement changes, the composition changes, the amount of negative space changes. Maybe the shapes changes, this one from a square to a rectangle. And even the pacing of the painting changes. And another big difference is drying time. Most of the time when I'm working larger, I'm using thicker amounts of paint. So the painting naturally slows down a bit. On smaller pieces, we can sometimes move quickly from layer to layer. We can use a hairdryer to help speed up that dry time. But larger paintings often need more time in between sessions. And small paintings naturally tend to feel energetic because everything is compressed and immediate. With larger paintings, it's easy to lose that looseness and really start overworking things in areas of the painting. So one of my biggest goals here was trying to preserve the energy and spontaneity of the original smaller painting while still allowing this larger piece to become its own thing. And that's really key for me. I'm not treating the smaller painting like a blueprint. I'm not trying to recreate every shape or mark exactly. Instead, I'm looking at things like movement and rhythm and balance and how the colors contrast and the values contrast and how the colors interact. I'm basically responding to the smaller painting rather than copying it. And I think that keeps the process more Well, much more intuitive and much more open. Sometimes we try too hard to recreate a smaller study exactly, and the larger painting can start to lose the spontaneity and energy that made the original interesting in the first place. So for me, it's more about translating the feeling of the smaller painting into a larger format rather than reproducing it perfectly. I'm also paying attention to what stood out to me emotionally in that original piece. Was it the movement or the contrast, the way the colors were grouped together? Those are things I want to carry into the larger painting. And honestly, working this way keeps the process more exciting too, because the larger painting still gets to surprise us a little bit as it develops. And working larger also changes how the tools behave. The silicone tools can create these really interesting broken edges and scraped transitions and layered marks that would feel very different with a brush. They're almost like using a mix between a large brush and a palette knife. And when we work bigger like this, the whole painting process becomes more physical. And I think that energy starts to show up in the painting itself. I also think these tools help preserve a certain rawness in the painting. They keep the marks from becoming too polished or overly controlled. And not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just what I was doing here. I didn't want that kind of polished and controlled look. I wanted this kind of rough and imperfect style of painting. And one of the things I ended up really liking in this piece is the relationship between the active marks and the darker blue negative space. The painting has a lot of movement and intensity in those clustered areas. So having quieter areas around them gives the eye a place to rest. And that contrast between activity and openness is something I think becomes more important when we work larger. And one thing to say too is I was having some lighting issues. Not only I was painting at different times of day, so sometimes I was able to let the natural light from outside come in, but sometimes it was so bright that it would kind of wash out part of the video. So I was having to adjust that, and then I also had one of my lighting fixtures was not working correctly. So I was using kind of a mix of smaller lighting pieces. So this piece is actually a lot more vibrant than what's showing on the screen. And I'll show at the end. I took it outside and took a picture of it so you can see it really in its natural lighting. Might have a little glare on that final piece, but you'll get a better idea of what that looks like. And I wanted the edges to be really thick with paint. Almost, when you're looking at it on a wall, you could see some texture on some of the areas there. Where the blue was, I wanted that nice and smooth. So I spent a little time just going over some of the edges here with some extra paint and made that really thick. And had to, again, let that sit and dry for quite a while before I started moving it. I can tell you if you brush up against one of these paintings with that thick of paint, you will ruin a pair of shorts like I did. But yeah, now I have a new pair of painting shorts, so it all works out. And I'll also show. I'm going to do a quick video, kind of over the whole thing, just so you can kind of see some of the textures because this paint is really thick, and I'll show you some close-ups where you can see that as well. So at the end, I'll show the final painting along with some close-ups and better lighting so we can get a more accurate look at the colors and the surface. And I think the biggest takeaway from this process is that warm-up paintings can be much more valuable than we sometimes give them credit for. They're not just practice pieces. They can become inspiration and foundations and starting points for larger work. And scaling up doesn't necessarily mean copying the smaller piece exactly. Sometimes it's really about carrying over the feeling and the energy of the new painting. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And if you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and keep on painting.